Now, to the politics of one thing that did pass the parliament and is already now the law of the land, and that is some changes when it comes to gun laws. Now, the federal government has a certain amount of power. This is largely about the states. I'll get to that in a second. But I know there are many people watching us right now, and I certainly know by the number of emails that I've got that there are many angry people watching us right now who say, well, hang on, shooting is an Olympic sport, we should still be able to do it, and guns are used as tools in regional areas. I have no problems at all with that logic. I have noticed the obvious, that with more than 4 million guns in the country, but only about 900,000 licensed firearms owners, then obviously there's multiple guns. Now, some people, as we've seen before, they've got hundreds of guns. Now, these are individuals, and yes, they're collectors, and they've inherited this, and they've bought that, and they've built up their collection, but still, it is a stark number of guns. But today, again, Parliament is patting itself on the back because they have made the changes when it comes to gun laws. We'll debate this in some detail a little bit later tonight. Those who said this is a great idea said this.
Gun buyback is a known source. Sharing intelligence information between security agencies before people gain gun licences or firearms, of course this is in the national interest.
We are doing everything that we can to try and make the community as safe as possible, and part of that means moving forward in terms of gun legislation and restricting the numbers of guns that people can have.
And those that have said that this is not what needs to be the response, well, they are equally as passionate.
What I'm hearing consistently from people in my electorate is they need their guns.
I don't think we have a gun problem. In fact, if you look at per capita, our ownership has gone down since Port Arthur.
Why are we passing gun laws? Oh, as a diversion from the real problem.
Now, again, that real problem being what 81% of people are willing to tell a Age or Sydney Morning Herald poll, which is that they wanted the focus of the recall of Parliament to be very much about the banning of radical Islamic organisations. Not a broad brush, but a very specific and fine pen focused in one particular area. Now, the truth of how these gun laws are going to work is that at the federal level, they really can only organise things like a gun buyback scheme. The limitation on the number of guns to being 4 for the individual or 10 if you are in regional areas is an area that is largely governed by the states and territories. The Northern Territory have said, no, they're not going to make any changes whatsoever. New South Wales, Western Australia have already made pretty tough changes. But in Queensland, we learned today that they too will not be changing the system. Now, in part because, of course, there are many members that are more on the National Party side of the LNP, the Liberal National Party in Queensland. They have decided they are not going to implement these gun laws. The person speaking on behalf of the government today, Sam O'Connor, the Housing Minister, but still speaking as a Cabinet Minister, says they want to get this right. They don't want a knee-jerk response. We've got a comprehensive set of reforms we're considering as a Cabinet. We're going to do this the Queensland way, a considered way. So to those who understandably say, well, hang on, all of this is a diversion, yeah, you're right. But why is the politics around this something that the government has raced towards? Again, the same poll that shows us that Australians have absolute clarity when it comes to radical Islamic organisations. The vast majority of people, and yes, those people are living in the cities more so than the bush, they back gun law changes. Now, I'm not saying this is a way to win you over if you disagree. I'm just showing you any politician who would see that toughening the laws is 76% popular in December and 66% popular in January, they're going to do it. Now, of course, they should do it when it comes to 81% in radical Islam. But this is why the government believes that they are on a political winner here. It's why, in part, the politics of this is going to be interesting about how it will be played by the government over the next little while. So, no, this is not me each way murraying on it. It is me saying that obviously 4 million guns is too many for this country to be having. Why? Because 4 million guns is an awful lot of guns. Should there be very serious restrictions about people who live in the cities? Yeah, I think that's logical. Do I think there should be an even more generous system that exists in the bush because those guns are used as tools? You betcha. All of this we again will debate tonight. But again, let's look inside these numbers, because I want to show those too, about how Australians feel about those changes to gun laws specifically. Follow along. Restricting gun licences to Australian citizens, 73% say yes. Who the hell are the 10% of Australians, that's the blue, who say no? That it shouldn't be restricted to just Australian citizens. I mean, that has been the law until now, which is insane. You can limit the number of individual guns. Well, that has now happened. That's the same number who want to ban the Islamic organisations. That's 81%. Tougher regulations on high-powered guns, again, 84%, the most popular of all of the measures. 82% placing limits on gun licences, so you need to reapply every few years so it's not set and forget. Again, 8 out of 10 people back that as an idea. This is what you're up against when you have politicians trying to search for a quick and simple solution that, yes, will only apply to legal gun owners, yet the problem can often be illegal gun ownership, and create a firearms database. Again, 5% of people, who are you, who are saying, no, it shouldn't be happening so the guns can't be tracked?